Hi class, this is going to be the 103 project, the case study on the Coconut Grove fire for myself, Chris Reynoso, Sam Lee, Sean Adams, James Crawford, and Victor Reyes. Throughout this video, we are going to explain the Coconut Grove fire, what happened, what went wrong, and things that we believe could have been used to prevent this fire from ever occurring.
The Coconut Grove fire was a nightclub fire in the United States. The Coconut Grove was a premier nightclub during the post-Prohibition 1930s and 1940s in Boston, Massachusetts. On November 28, 1942, it was the scene of the deadliest nightclub fire in history, killing 492 people, which was 32 more than the building's authorized capacity, and injuring hundreds more. The scale of the tragedy shocked the nation and briefly replaced the events of World War II in newspaper headlines. It led to a reform of safety standards and codes across the U.S. and to major changes in the treatment and rehabilitation of burn victims internationally. It was the second deadliest single-building fire in American history, although the 1903 Iroquois Theater fire in Chicago had the higher death toll of 602. It was only 2 years after the Rhythm Club fire, which had killed 209. The nightclub building was originally a garage and warehouse complex, and the brick and the concrete buildings had been converted to a 1.5-story meandering complex of dining rooms and bars and lounges. The club offered its patrons dining and dancing in the South Seas-like tropical paradise, and a roof that would be rolled back in the summer for dancing under the stars. The decor consisted of leatherette, rattan, and bamboo coverings on the walls, heavy draperies, and swanky dark blue satin canopies and covering on the ceilings. Support columns in the main dining area were made to look like palm trees, with light fixtures made to look like coconuts. That theme was carried over into the basement Melody Lounge, with what little light there was provided by palm tree light fixtures. The wall coverings and decorative materials had been improved on the basis of tests for ordinary ignition, which showed resistance to combustion from sources such as matches and cigarettes. Decorative cloth was purportedly treated with ammonium sulfate as a fire retardant upon installation, but there was no documentation that the fire retardant treatment was maintained at the required intervals. Since the U.S. entry into the war, air conditioning systems had been serviced, and the Freon refrigerant was replaced by methyl chloride, a flammable gas due to a wartime shortage of Freon.
Smoke alarms and fire systems. The lack of smoke alarms was a major factor in how the situation worsened very quickly. Without the smoke alarms, there was no warning. By the time people realized, it was too late. Panic struck too late and the smoke would get to them first. Not having a sprinkler system also caused the fire to spread at a much faster rate, giving people less time to escape. As people started to see bodies drop, they started to shove to get out faster. The doors did not help the situation, as some were revolving and others opening inward. As bodies piled up in the doorways, they kept people from being able to escape through the doors being stuck. This also entrapped smoke within the building, causing more people to drop.
On the night of November 28th in 1942, there was a fire in the Coconut Grove nightclub. The fire began around 10:15 p.m., supposedly started by a busboy who was trying to replace a light bulb near the roof right next to an artificial palm tree. The room was very dark, so the busboy decided to light a match so he could try to figure out where the light socket was so he could replace the light bulb. That is when the palm tree next to him supposedly ignited and started to spread throughout the nightclub. The Boston Fire Commissioner, however, has put it in the records that this fire was not caused by the busboy, but that the fire department was unable to determine the direct cause of the fire and that it was from an unknown origin.
The catastrophic fire took a substantial 492 souls and injured hundreds of more, even though it was only rated to hold a maximum of 460 people inside. Most of the deaths occurred within the first 7 minutes due to smoke inhalation, having a single revolving door and no public access to other exits. The other exits were hidden, bolted, and boarded up to stop patrons from leaving the club before they had paid. The inside of the nightclub was completely incinerated and only allowed people to escape by crawling through dark, narrow openings of the building. After the fire officials said that if the club had outward swinging doors, they could have saved upwards of 300 people.
What fire prevention system could have been used and how the systems would have worked. The fire prevention system most valuable to this incident would have been a wet pipe automatic sprinkler. With a good flow rate from each sprinkler, cooling of the interior area, and extinguishing the fire allows people trapped more time to a path of egress and helps salvage high-cost items. What codes and advancements were made because of this event? Building codes quickly evolved from this event, requiring emergency exits to remain unlocked, non-combustible props, and emergency lighting and sprinklers. Two medical advancements in burn treatment are also a result of the Coconut Grove incident.
Though the victims of the Coconut Grove fire were involved in the second most dangerous fire in U.S. history, there is some good that unfortunately came out of the situation. All of the burn and smoke inhalation victims brought to the Boston City Hospital allowed professionals to discover new efficient ways to treat those types of injuries, which led to higher survival rates to patients with the same problems. In 1993, the Bay Village Neighborhood Association installed a bronze plaque into the sidewalk next to where the building used to stand. It serves as a memorial to the 492 people who lost their lives on the night of November 28, 1942.